Hello, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to part 5 of the Discovery Tour. This is the final part. So, we'll be doing the Romans. This is the final part. Like I said, just in case anybody is watching this part, I don't talk because it's sort of like a tour guide thing where they take you through the tour and they're talking. So, let's get this over with.
Welcome to Roman military equipment. The strength of Rome was directly dependent on its military supremacy and fundamentally militaristic society. Regular citizens, comprised mostly of farmers and herders, joined to protect their land and families. In return for their service, members of this civic army were allowed to vote. Trained to be highly disciplined and obedient to superior officers, citizen soldiers developed a deep sense of loyalty to their city. The quality of the armor of a Roman foot soldier was intrinsically linked to his social status and wealth. Chainmail was the most commonly used type of armor. Scale armor, made famous in today's media, came into use after Caesar's time. Foot soldiers carried large and oblong shields, while the cavalry used smaller ones of Greek origin. Soldiers were expected to carry their own kit, including the tools required for the construction of forts and tents. Roman soldiers used the same types of weapons. The stomach and face were the most targeted parts of the body. As such, a legionary was equipped with two close combat weapons, a dagger and a short sword, known as a gladius. One of the most ingenious Roman weapons was the javelin. Its pyramid-shaped tip pierced the body, while its iron shank was designed to break upon impact, stopping the enemy from throwing it back. During their conquests, the Romans regularly transformed enemy technologies to add to their own formidable arsenal. After capturing a Carthaginian vessel, The Romans adopted its better features and constructed a superior fleet of ships. Adapting heavy artillery designs from Greek models aided the Romans in building catapults and ballistae. The latter became an iconic symbol of Roman warfare. Welcome to Roman forts. The size of a Roman military camp, known as a castrum, varied significantly depending on how many soldiers it needed to accommodate. However, they all shared common characteristics in design and construction, such as this fort before you, located in Cape Chersonesos. Rectangular in shape, the forts were heavily fortified by ramparts and a ditch system. The walls were reinforced with parapets, essentially an extension at the roofline which allowed a protective barrier for patrolling soldiers. Depending on the availability of materials, some forts were built with stone, timbers, stacked turf, and particularly in the eastern part of the empire, baked brick. Access doors on all four sides were each flanked by guard towers. The commanding officer was positioned in the middle of the camp, giving him a clear view of the troops and the main gate. Along with sleeping barracks for the soldiers, the fort also had a granary that was expected to hold rations for a year or longer. To ensure the health of the soldiers, every camp was equipped with medical staff and a hospital. A clean water supply with conduits for a bathhouse and latrines was included in the construction of every fort.
Welcome to the Forts of Cyrenaica. Cyrenaica was a Libyan region under Roman control, gifted to Rome by one of Cleopatra's ancestors. The remains and foundations of ancient fortifications were discovered in the 19th century in the southwest of Cyrenaica, as well as a Roman garrison dating back to the 1st century CE. Evidence shows that these forts were of Libyan origin, rebuilt and modified by Roman engineers when Cyrenaica was part of the empire. Stone was the most commonly used material to build forts in Egypt and Cyrenaica. Though no real proof of a fortress similar to the one before you has been uncovered in that region, The team chose to add it as a worthy and awe-inspiring end-of-game challenge for the player. The forts of Cyrenaica were intended to prevent invaders from gaining access to the main route that led to the country's 5 most important cities. These forts were built close to coastal plains and deserts for added defense. 3 of these cities were recreated by the team: Balagrae, Apollonia, and Cyrene. Had it existed, the fort before you would have protected the road leading to Balagrae. Other than reference to an attack around 404 CE and a military reorganization by Emperor Justinian during the 6th century CE, we still know little of the Roman military presence in Cyrenaica. Welcome to Roman Aqueducts. Water management was taken seriously by the Romans. Cyrenaica benefited greatly from Roman administration, with the construction of aqueducts and canals. The source of water varied depending on the The ability to transport water over a greater distance increased agricultural production. Some aqueducts were reported to be over 7 kilometers in length. Where the Greeks of Libya originally focused mainly on olive trees and figs, which required less water, the advent of Roman aqueducts allowed for a far greater crop diversity. Every farm's water use was carefully scheduled. The engineering methods used to create aqueducts were constantly reviewed, with a clear focus on exploiting the local environment. Materials, water usage, cleaning regulations, and a deep understanding of how to exploit gravity itself were all important concerns. Several fortresses were built to protect the aqueducts, basins, and cisterns. Additional water was collected with wells and cisterns, but aqueducts were the main supply of fresh water. The water was distributed based on the collective needs of the city, before the private needs of an individual. Almost all aqueducts ended in a fountain where the water circulated to clean the streets and supply bathhouses and latrines, thus improving the cleanliness of Cyrenaica's cities.
Welcome to Crucifixion. In terms of the severity of Roman justice, crucifixion was at the top of the list of corporal punishment, followed by death by fire and decapitation. The upper class considered crucifixion unworthy of their position. Those lucky enough to have Roman citizenship were also exempt from such treatment. Easily accessible, crucifixions were popular entertainment among the citizenry. Unlike throwing victims to wild animals, which required an arena, crucifixions did not require any particular setting. Those subjected to crucifixion were almost always slaves, traitors, and lower-class citizens. Roman deserters were crucified because the betrayal of the soldiers was perceived as endangering the lives of Roman citizens. In 71 BCE, a major slave uprising in Italia was repressed by the Roman army. This resulted in the crucifixion of 6,000 men, including their leader, a slave and former gladiator known as Spartacus.
That is what the Discovery that is the Discovery Tour done. I'm actually going to add a little bit of an extra to make this video longer. I'm going to show you what what the most famous tourism attraction in Egypt nowadays in this game, which would be the Valley of the Kings, was like back then, because they have the Valley of the Kings. Hang on, I'll be Usually sometimes it takes a while to load. it's in it was in the Atlas, that's why I couldn't find it. But why I'm adding this on to this episode of the Discovery Tour is because the Valley of the Kings should be added to it, but it's not. But yeah. Why is it taking so long? There we go. Oh. Where was it? Yes. It's over here. This is the actual Valley of the Kings. This shows 4 pharaohs and each of their afterlives, which I won't show, but it will just at least show the 4 pharaohs that they decided to put in the Curse of the Pharaohs, and what the Valley of Kings used to look like back then.
Listen, and I will impart my knowledge to you. By the 17th day, the embalming and wrapping must be completed.
And then we take the calf to the tomb?
In procession, the four flank. By the goddess Iset and her sister Nephthys.
The priests burn incense and sprinkle milk along the path. And we...
I think I'm going the wrong way.
And so shall their soul enter the door.
Whoa.
I just want to get over to the Valley of the Kings, man.
Whoa.
That is way better. Just travel to the tomb. I haven't played this game in forever, so I do not know. Yep. This is the tomb of Akhenaten, Tutankhamun's Tutankhamun's father. As you can see, there's nothing there because he's in his afterlife, and that's the afterlife he would step through to see. Alright, so that's one. There's another one over here. There's one up here. This is the tomb of Ramses the Great, also known as Ramses II. I don't actually know if these are what these tombs look like in real life, but it was good to just show them anyway because these are famous pharaohs. But Ramses, and then Ramses' afterlife. Which, like I said, I'm not going to show the afterlife. They are very nice though, but I ain't going to show them. So that's Ramses the Great. Now, there's two more tombs to look at.
This area is off limits.
Hey!
Greek master. Get that.
The weapon that I actually have is Tutankhamun's staff. Okay. Where's this treasure?
Should not have come here.
Take that, fucker. Here for your treasure, bitches. Here for your fucking treasure. Now, anyway, let's get back over to the other.
Thank you, my friend.
Find my brothers!
Well, you ain't getting away, buddy.
Have to get help!
All right. Now let's get this over with, shall we? Could have had this done already. So, I think this one is the tomb of Queen Nefertiti. Which is supposed to be Tutankhamun's mother. Yeah, there's her afterlife. In actual real life for Egypt, there are tons more tombs in the Valley of the Kings, but this is just like, you know, the start of all the tombs. Right? Most of the famous pharaohs are all buried in these tombs. And last but not least, we have the tomb of King Tutankhamun. This one is relatively the smallest tomb in the whole thing, because Tutankhamun's tomb was like the smallest of them all. Right, but
You will sleep again with the boy king when our duty to this land is done.
and yeah. That is a bit of the Discovery Tour plus the Valley of the Kings. So I'll be seeing you.